All right, everyone, Supreme Copy over here. So we are going to be switching to a different topic in terms of the 3.1 update over here. So this time around, we are going to be talking about the custom abilities over here. So with the 3.1 update, they've added a few more over here. I think all in general, in terms of custom ability, it was something when initially released, I did not really cover too much about because I feel like it was not too useful in a way. But like later on, as I am, played through Arena, I found out how important it was to be able to activate my custom abilities and all that. So I guess this is the time, maybe the time for me to just go over what I think me personally, if I were to play this game myself, like what is the best setup in terms of like dealing the most damage and all that good stuff over here. So these are all the stuff we have so far. So I think everything up to the 10% chance of not recalling, that was like basically the first run or like the first thing we have initially. So we got attack with all beam, like basically any beam weaponry get an increase of 15%. I think if we do max it out to like I think level 5, we do get up to 25%. So I'm still like a little bit not there yet, but hopefully one day I'll be able to farm up to that level 5 right there. And then your physical all power boosted by 15%, and then you have your enemy power reduction, and you have a little bit of health recovery, and then you have 10% chance of attack penetrating super armor, and then 10% chance of basically recoil right there. So what was added this time around, you have Verni consumption reduced by 10%, so that's base level 1, and then all range attack, reload speed boosted by 10% right there, and then buff effects goes up by 10%, and then debuff effects EXK effects up by 10%. So I think if you guys do know me, what is my top pick this time around in terms of what they have added, it's definitely going to be the buff effects skill right there. So that is basically like a free trait they're giving you right there, because that is starting out at level 1. And keep that in mind, you can upgrade this up to level 5. So you're going to be looking at around, if I recall looking at the footnotes, I think we're looking at about talking about is either 25% or 30%. I forget which one of them, but that is essentially like a free trait that you can pretty much find like somewhere around along the line, something like this. Like something like this right here. But obviously, I don't think it's go up to 35. So in this video, I'm just going to talk about how deadly these custom ability is in conjunction with this over here, because I was talking about, I think yesterday, talk about how to form the left arm gear over here. So we're gonna quickly talk about in conjunction with this gear over here how deadly the custom ability is over here. So we were just gonna hop into a few multi-mission match over here, and then just gonna talk about how things are over here. So this says right here, first job get charged up by 90%. So when you starting up the match, I think I should be around 104% charged up already. So I can instantly tap on that limit break right there, and then I will get all the benefit this one has. Beam all power boost by 15%, and then all physical power boosted by 15%, and then enemy all power reduced by 15%. So that's actually how it works. So if you guys don't know already, I know it's been out for a little bit, but I still see a lot of people don't really upgrade them or whatnot. So this time around, what we are gonna actually do. First of all, I'm not gonna equip this one yet. So let's talk about the lineups over here. So in terms of for a shooter build, what is gonna be an ideal build is probably for a shooter build, ideally you want to be using beam attacks or beam EXQ. I think for a shooter build is ideal to be using any beam weaponry. That's what I think. And then for melee, it's gonna be the opposite, using physical dust, because they do have a little bit more portrait that favor towards, let's say, physical. I think that is same for shooter build. I think there are some portrait that favors, let's say, beam attacks a little bit more. That is from just looking at all other portraits. So what is ideal for a shooter build is actually, let me remove these over here. There's really, so the first one obviously has to be some attackers. You want to be buffing up your attack as much as possible. Maybe you run into a situation like in terms of longer events, you want to be able to let's maybe take a little bit less damage. So let's say you want to reduce your enemy, for example. In terms of recovery by 200, this really depends on how fast, let's say, your job gauge kind of recharges and all that, because this trickles in like 200 per tick, so it's not going to be by too much. I would even say that whatever is built into your casting EXQ, for example, if they do have it, or any EXQ in general that has some health recovery, I think they will be a little bit more beneficial. I will have to say, because like if I have to recall, maybe it's three to 400 or even 500 at max. So I don't see too much of a benefit except for, let's say, day one arena, where you can potentially tank and attack no problem. Because once you activate your job gauge, that will immediately refuel whatever, regenerate whatever help you lost. So in that perspective, in day one arena, I would recommend using, let's say, the recovery armor by whatever number you're looking at. So the third slot obviously is gonna be either or these over here. Burning consumption reduced by 10% is more of like using it in that one, let's say, that multi-mission map that always use to test out my EX skill. I think that one, since that one has that long straightaway, I guess if you do want to reduce a little bit of consumption and potentially have a little bit of a better boosting, I mean, I guess, but I don't see too much of a benefit. Maybe you guys can tell me what you guys would use the Vernier consumption on right there, or reduce consumption right there. I don't really see too much of a benefit. And then as for this one, all ranged weapon reload speed boosted by 10%. I do see this one in conjunction with some portrait that says boost your magazine and then boost your reload rate. We do see a lot of those portrait fairly common, I would say. And yeah, in that regards, maybe you can kind of do a little bit of a funny setup right there that we have seen so far. I have not actually tested that out. I guess that could be a little bit of a funny build that I can probably work on. But ideally, you want to be equipping this one. If you guys are a main damage dealing unit, I think the buff E skill effects up by 10% would definitely be in your favor. Or if you guys are, let's say, even a supporting unit, that, let's say, you want to be buffing up your overall squad, you're like the main person to provide utility for your squad, this one is definitely going to be it as well. But if you're on the opposite end, you're like a tanky unit, you like debuffing your enemy, you like reducing your enemy, let's say, attacks, defense, or whatsoever, then this one is going to be a place you want to add that on right there. Debuff EX skill effects up by 10%. We do actually have portrait that does the opposite. Instead of buffs, it's debuffing. But I would say that is not the most common case. But they exist, but just not as common as as I would say buff effects. So what we're gonna be actually doing, we're gonna hop into three separate match. We're gonna hop into my shooter build because I want to test, like, I want to show you guys in conjunction with this gear over here, because yesterday I just kind of like talked about how to farm it, but I did not actually go in depth of like, all right, talking about what is the benefit of having this right here. So we're gonna actually show it on camera how this actually works on my shooter build. So I'll probably not be using this actual skin. I'll probably change something up. So that would be that. So we're gonna be using it one time without the buff effect skill. You know what? Actually, before doing that, I would like to upgrade this to whatever possible I can upgrade right now, because 10% is minimal, but it's up there. 10% is something there, but it's not to like a greater scale as I wanted to. So we just kind of upgrade this to however much I can currently. I'm liking 4, so I'm just gonna go graph former, and then we'll just be right back and see if I can upgrade any more to that. So let me make a cut right now, and then we'll be right back. So I did actually purchase 4 more. I think I should have enough. So let's see. So now we're at 15%. So I'm gonna bump this up one more time. So we're at 20%. So double that. And then can we potentially? Oh yes, we can. I'm just gonna actually upgrade this to level 4. So it should max out at level 5. It should be at 30%. That is gonna be crazy. So we're gonna be using that on setup number 2. First step, we're just gonna use this without it, so I can give you guys a good demonstration of like how impactful that will be. Before doing that, I'll actually need to change up something on camera so you guys can kind of see where I'm gonna do right now. So we guys see in terms of my portrait right now, I do have 130% EX skill effects up by 30%. What I'm gonna be doing right now, I'm gonna go into my inventory right now and gonna select a little bit more just to give it a little bit of a beefy feel to it. So in that regards, you guys would definitely see the maximum output. So we're gonna be using this one over here, the Gerbit here over here. That is gonna be a 15% up again. 15%. I would say I would definitely use it over, let's say, a 30% like a EXP boosting, just because of how impactful they are. But like I said again, there is going to be like a pros and cons to that. If you're using EX skill that does not have, let's say, any buff EX skill effects, that would not going to trigger at all. Now I'm also going to be replacing a chest right here. I'm not actually going to be using this one over here. What we're going to be actually using, we are going to be using the Banshee Nor, because the Banshee Nor also gives some buff EX skill effects up by 17%. So I do only have it, unfortunately, at trait level trait 2 right now. But eventually, if for example I do get this up to, let's say, portrait level 10, that will be a amazingly good portrait to be using. So all in all, right now we should be looking at, let's see, so right here 30, 45, and then plus another 18, we should be looking at somewhere around like a 63, about, if I have to say. Yeah, I think it's 63. And then after that, in the next setup, I'm gonna come back one more time with adding on this over here, and then I'm gonna close things out by giving you guys another example on my melee build, because my melee build has the most in terms of buff effect skills. So I can definitely show you guys another impactful way of how benefit the custom ability is over here. So that should be pretty much it. Let me do actually construct a different build that is a little bit more centric towards like a that can utilize all the buff effect skills. So we'll be right back. I'm just gonna hop into our limited time multi mission that I think it says Satan Gundam, so that should be a pretty good testing scenario, and then we'll be right back. Before proceeding, I do want to talk a little bit of the EX skill I'm using, so I just want to fill you guys in like why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? So we have a archer stat over here, so it's gonna buff your shot attack with your squad by 49%, so I'll be able to benefit from that. So this one is 49%, but if you take a look at the the EX cube, what is it? The buff EX cube effects up there. So I think I have around 62 or 63, right? So basically you add that towards this part over here. So it's basically 49 plus 62. So you're like equate up to like around 100 something. And then Rampage over here, it also raise your shot attack by 24%. 24%. So the buffs continue to circulate, continue to buff it up a little bit. So you're gonna add another 62 on top of that. And then last but not least, we have the backpack cutscene EXQ. This over here is gonna buff another 49%. So again, you're gonna be adding another 62 on top of that. So that's why at the end of the day, if I have this one attached on, that's how you guys can kind of see how this actually works. So this is going to be the set I'm looking at over here. So we are looking at 108k shot attack up here. So we're going to be taking on the limited time multi mission, and then we'll see how this can do. All right, we are in now. So we're also going to take a look at that 104%. We can just immediately do that and do this, and look at that effective right there. I was like looking at around 104%, but they immediately drop it down to 100. So you guys can see like the full potential once you have it to like 4-star right there. So we can just kind of do this. Did I time it right? Oh yes, I did. Let's see how much this can do in terms of final attack. 3.34 million. So that's quite a lot. So we're gonna come back around one more time. I'm just actually gonna cut through it. We're gonna see how much of a difference we can make in terms of adding that 25% buff effects right here. So I'm gonna make another quick cut right here, and then we will be right back. Alright, so we are back once again. So this time around I added 25% buff effects right there, so I can immediately activate that and activate all these stuff over here. So gonna be quite quick in terms of what we're gonna be doing right here. Was that a big increase right there? I can't really tell. I'm not really going to be looking at the Rampage. I think the Rampage is more of like a buffer to me. So we're going to see how this one can do. Oh no, did I miss it? Oh, I thought I missed it. Let's see. Oh no! Yikes! We finished up before we can execute the final hit. So I guess right here it does tell you that with the increase of that 25% buff effects, you guys can see an enormous amount of like damage increases right there. But this time around, I'm going to be showing you guys how this full potential can be in terms of my melee build over here. So let's actually cut over to what my melee build is right now. Okay, so this is going to be the melee build I am going to take into the multi-mission build. Multi-mission build, what? The multi-mission with you guys over here. So this is going to be my tech attribute build over here. So we're going to be having type advantage. So something I do want to talk to you guys about in terms of buff effect skills I have on this guy over here in terms of my melee build. I think currently on this current setup, in terms of my T attribute build, I should have roughly about 105%, right? Because this right here, 30 and then 25, so that is 55 already. And then you're gonna add another 20 right there, so you're looking at 75, and then you're gonna add another final 30%. So you're sitting roughly at around 105. This one can still go up by 2%, and then the one for the arm that can still go up by a whopping 5 more percent. So we're this around 7% short. So I guess it should be fine. In this situation, I'm not really gonna be cutting back and forth. For like, all right, gonna try things out without the buff effect skill. So I'm just gonna go straight in, putting everything I have on the table and just see what kind of raw damage we can do. So by adding this one over here, ideally we should be looking at around 130% buff effect skills. That is going to be enormous right here, because we can just kind of take quickly glance at what we are looking at so far over here. So my setup over here is going to be a combat stand alpha, so it's going to buff my melee attack up by 49%. So you're going to also add another 130% buff effect skill right here. So ideally, when you're hopping into the that's why in this setup, why having a 4-star gear is good in terms of the left arm, because you're gonna immediately hop in with that what is it, the limit break over here, so you can immediately take advantage of that 25%. If you don't have that active, for example, you're just basically gonna be losing out on some attacks. That buff effect skill is you're just gonna be losing that, right? So that's why we want to have that immediately. In this setup over here, in terms of my melee build, you guys will see that I'm gonna be starting off at, let's say, 93%, and that is gonna take a while. You guys will see that it's gonna take a little bit before that gets built up. So that's why I say, if you guys have the necessary resources and means to farm up to that 4-star left gear, that's why it's a lot more beneficial. So that is that. And then we also have the feather dive over here. That is going to be from the Wing Zero Endless World version, another 43%. And then last but not least, this is going to be my final move over here. The bicep is a one-hitter quitter, so this will easily allow me to gauge what kind of damage I'm doing. This one also going to buff my melee attack up by 39%. So that is that. That's going to be the testing control we have over here. So let me actually hop into the actual match and see what kind of damage we can do. Alright, we are here for the one final time right now. So you guys can see that I'm starting out at 93, so it's gonna take about a few seconds over here. So let's see. 100% right now, we're sitting at around 4 minutes and 52 seconds, which just 4 seconds less than what we're looking at. It's not too bad, for example, but you guys can see that I was able to immediately execute that, which was nice, right? So right now we're going to activate the limit break right now. I want to activate that a little bit later because this phase right here it does take a while before it activates. So that's why I don't want to waste any time on that. So let's see what we can do. Is it 10 million? Oh my gosh. I have never seen my bicep does that much damage. That is crazy. So that right there tells you guys how much of a benefit or how much of an impact actually that buff effect skill over 25% from the limit break is, or from the actual custom ability. So that is absurd right there. Wow. I'm beyond shocked right now. Oh my gosh. Alright, and there you guys have it. So this is going to be a new addition of the custom abilities over there. So the 4 additional effects right there. You got the burning consumption reduced by 10%. You got the buff effect skills, and you also got the debuff. And that alongside with that all range attack reload speed boosted. So these are going to be the 4 new addition over here. Like I said again, for the buff EXQ effects come out immediately, and you guys can see what kind of deadly potential this can do. This all we have, I would say this allow people to be able, or just people who does not have, let's say, the best apart, they should be able to clear, or let's say should be able to do finish up the multi mission by themselves. No problem. Let's say if they want to run a few matches by themselves, I think that should be no problem right now. So with that being said, just talking about the new custom abilities over here, and just going over once again in terms of like what is the benefit of having that 4-star left arm right there. So with that being said, that should be pretty much it for this video over here, and then I'll catch you guys all on the next one.